Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm Fantasia and this is Sewing with Tay. Today I'm doing another embroidery video. If you're new here, hey, what's up? I do videos on sewing tutorials, sewing facts, embroidery. I've got a 3D printer I like to do stuff with and a laser engraver. I have an X-Tool F1 that I do projects with from time to time, but today's focus is embroidery. If any of that's your cup of tea, make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell if you want to see more videos. So today we're going to hop right into doing embroidery. So I have been seeing these 3D puff embroidery styles, and as many of you know, I've had my embroidery machine for over a year and it took me a long time to find the time to learn how to use it and then to learn how to do some of the cool things you can do with an embroidery machine. So I had bought this 3D puff eons ago, didn't understand what was going on because I still hadn't grasped some of the technical aspects of a embroidery machine, so I quit. I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm back and I'm going to say this time was also a fail, but I documented the whole process. I did make a hoodie for my brand. I'm super excited about it. It's still cute, but it did not execute the way I wanted it to. So I'm still going to show y'all what I did, but I'm going to tell you what the mistake was. I bought my 3D font off of Etsy because I do have Janome Artistic Digitizer, but I still don't know how to use it. So I did not make my own 3D font. I bought the 3D font off Etsy, but I wanted it to be big. But I haven't quite learned how to adjust the compensation and the density when I've bought a file. So I wanted to scale it bigger, so I did. I scaled a 3-inch font to like 7 inches, and the letters got longer and wider, which they should have. But for 3D, which I later learned, you want it to be narrower so that the stitches go from one side to the other like that, so that it's encasing the foam, which makes it 3D. If it's having to stitch through the foam, it's not going to give you the same look. So I'm going to show you guys what I did, how I did it. Same rules apply, just don't resize the font, and maybe find like a thicker font. I'm going to try this again with 2 layers of foam. I've been buying 3mm foam. I've been going to this local shop called Synergy Crafts, and they have a bunch of stuff locally because, you know, Joann's might meet their demise, but I've been going there anyways. But I like them. They're very nice, they're very knowledgeable, and they answer a lot of questions. So I think I might try to do it again and not resize my font, or figure out how to make it slimmer. So this is my 3D puff embroidery fail tutorial, but hopefully you can see this and see what I did wrong, and you can have a more successful 3D hoodie than I did. Let's jump right into it, y'all. So I have this sweatshirt here, and I'm going to try to do another full chest embroidery with my single needle machine that I'm gonna have to hoop multiple times. I have this little thing here which I just got, so I'm hoping this will help me with my alignment, and we'll see how this goes. I have this heat removable pen, and I actually don't know how to use this thing. Let's see. I assumed it would be here. That's not right. I assumed it would go here, but like the neckline is up here. I think it says if you want it 3 inches below the center front neck edge, and I do believe that is where I want it, so I'm just going to put it here. Let's just double check. Yeah, 3 inches. So I'm just going to draw a line here, and this is what I'm going to call the center. So I'm going to say here, and it's just here. It's like 8.5. I'm going to print out my pieces, and we're gonna see how it sits on here. Let's take this off. See how that goes. Take this off. So this is gonna be what I'm gonna call my landing. So this here is my embroidery software. I'm going to print these out so I can lay them out on my hoodie to test out the placement. I'm going to print design only, and I want to make sure that the crosshairs are visible, but you can see here the crosshair is on the letter and it's hard to see. So I'm going to change the color to red, hit crosshairs again, and now you can see where the exact center is. I'm going to do the same thing for the Y and the A, design only, and the crosshairs, but you can see that one, so I don't need to change the color. Here is Emporium. I'm going to do the same thing, design only, and print. So I printed these out. This is what I did the last time and it worked, so I'm going to try it again. So they look kind of like this, and I put these center lines so I knew where to line up the center of my frame. So what I'm going to do is kind of I think I kind of want you there. I don't know if this makes a difference or not. So I want this here, like this. And then this, actually, kind of want it right there, which is really close to the pocket, so we might have to pull her up a little bit. Let's go here, and then this isn't centered, but actually I think centered over the pocket makes more sense. So like you here, and then this is going to come like there. So it's a little big actually. So I feel like, I'm not sure. I like it big. Don't know. I feel like it would have to go up a little. Because I like this right here. But I feel like this, maybe just gonna do like there. And then this can come closer to like there. And then this, what I'm worried about is this puff. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I do like this. We're going to try it out. This is just a tester. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attempt to mark where the center of these are. And then this. That's where my center should be. And then for you, this center is here. There we are. I'm going to use this. We'll see how it goes. These scissors are terrible. So this is going to require 3 hoops. Did that wrong. This way. this is tight in there. I am hooping the stabilizer, and then I'm actually going to take a ruler and I am going to mark oh, that didn't work. Going to mark where the center is, and then I'm going to line this center mark up with that center mark. I'm going to be floating this. So this is in here. I am going to be using 3D foam. So we're going to see how it goes. This will be my first big 3D foam project that I have across there. Put this across, match these up. Same thing with this one and that one. So first thing I'm going to do, well, no, I'm not going to do that first. I'm going to try to get this in here because that's the hard part. So we're going to, oops, don't knock the camera. So we are going to try to match this line up with this one. So like that. This is basically what happens, but I'm going to be using temporary adhesive spray to get it to temporarily stick on here. So now that I've kind of got it close, spray some sticky. It's getting sticky. That's what they say. I'm going to take you, I'm going to line you back up. I'm going to push those two pieces together first and then smooth everything else out, trying to make sure that it stays straight and that all the other pieces are out of the way. Like that. So this would be my first hoop, and this A is gonna go like that. It's gonna be close in here. And this here I need to cut it. Move that out of the way. And then this 3D foam will just go right on top of here. If you're new here, I'm going to introduce you to my Brother Persona PRS 100. I love her because she's my first single arm machine. I decided to put the opening, the bottom of my hoodie, towards the machine. So if you look at the screen, that's why my A is upside down, because that's the direction that my hoodie is going in. You will see me map out the placement multiple times because I want to make sure that I'm not going to stitch over my hoodie and that it is inside of the embroidery space and that it's not going to hit the frame, because you want to make sure that with the mighty hoops, I have a mighty hoop, sorry, and it will hit the frame because it doesn't necessarily recognize that it's too big or too small. So once that is set up, I'm going to put my embroidery foam down and I'm going to start stitching. This was like 30,000 stitches. I don't know what I was doing, and it took forever. So I cut that out so you guys don't have to watch that. But you see here, it's kind of wavy. It's not that great, and it's definitely not puffy. It still works, but it is not what I wanted. So at this point, I was going to keep going because I was about 36,000 stitches in. So we're going to pull off that puffy foam and then clip any threads. And then we're going to open up our mighty hoop. It's a magnet, so you got to pull it away kind of snugly. We're going to clean this up, and then we're going to trim away the interfacing or stabilizer, sorry, on the back. This is me hooping another frame. This method that I'm using is called floating. So I'm going to mark the center again with my heat soluble pen, and then I'm going to mark the center. I'm going to spray her down with some temporary adhesive spray. And then I'm going to mark the center dot on my sweatshirt with the center dot of the frame. Then I'm going to give it a good firm push down to make sure that it is stuck to it, at least temporarily. Then I'm going to take her back to my machine, and I'm going to map it out again, same way I did before, to make sure that my needle bar and needle aren't going to hit the mighty hoop frame, that my sweatshirt isn't going to fall and get caught in the needle, because I have done that twice and it is insanity and it's mind wrecking. But once you get the placement set, you're going to throw on another piece of foam, and then you're going to start stitching again. And this also was another like 30,000 stitches, so I'm not going to sit here and make you watch that whole thing, but just know it does take some time. I did redo these so that I can try again on another hoodie, and it was like 20,000 stitches. That's still a lot, but it is not a lot as this was. This is like 70,000 stitches. Once you get that last section cut out, you're going to trim your interfacing. I keep saying interfacing, y'all. Stabilizer. You're going to trim your stabilizer off the back, and then I'm going to pull off my puffy foam, pull off these little extra pieces and any pieces of thread. Then I'm going to move on to my last hooping. For the previous ones, I used a mesh stabilizer because someone told me that you could use that on sweatshirts, and I just felt like it wasn't working. It was wavy, it was not supportive, so I switched back to a cutaway stabilizer. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my center, and then I'm going to spray her down with temporary adhesive so I can float my sweatshirt. And then I am going to mark that center point with the center point on my frame so that I can go ahead and try to stitch this last section out. Out of the two previous hooping so far, this one came out the best, probably because I did not resize it. It was really close to the size it was that I ordered. So note for the future, if you want to make it taller, you need to buy a embroidery font that is that size. So this is the embroidery for the last piece. And again, I'm not going to make you watch that whole thing because it's just a needle going up and down. So this took the least amount of time. I think it was like 18,000 stitches. If you look at it up close, it does look a little puffy. I did not do the lighter thing that I've seen some people do to like make it actual puff. So I think I'm going to try that out and see how it goes. But overall, even though it wasn't a 3D puff like I wanted it to, I still think the sweatshirt was pretty quick and cute. So I'm definitely going to trim that interfacing, trim it a little bit closer, especially with this being a cutaway. And then I'm going to go through and make sure I clean up all the threads and things. And since I used a heat pin, I'm going to take it to the iron and clean it up. I saw someone with these like curved tweezers. I don't have those, so I just use regular tweezers. So I'm going in here just to pull out any of that extra fluff, just to make it look clean. And that pretty much was it. Once we get all the pieces cleaned up. Alright, here is my hoodie. I've learned that 1, I need a different stabilizer. 2, I cannot resize 3D font. This here is closer to how the font came, like 1 to 3 inches. So it actually looks kind of 3D, but this part of here looks pretty flat. So I'll have to figure that out. But here we are, 70,000 stitches later. So I tried it. Right here is my sweatshirt. It doesn't look bad. I wanted something big, but I wanted this to be more 3D. But here we are. I tried it. If you want me to do more embroidery content, please leave me a comment in the comment section. If you are an embroiderer and you have tips on how I can fix this, please also leave that in my comment section. But until next time, y'all, bye.